Let me start saying Happy International Women's Day to each one of you. I think this is such a wonderful event that Women Who Code has put together for us. And I'm really excited to be here today to share some knowledge about something that I've been really interested in lately, and that is the main role of animations in user interfaces. But before we begin, I would like to introduce myself. My name is Vanessa Alvarez. I am a proud dog mom, as you can see. I am also a front-end developer at Alkami Technology. We are located in Plano. And you can find me on LinkedIn as Vanessa Alvarez and on Medium as Alvarez Vanessa. But before being a developer, I used to be a graphic designer. And one of the things that really caught my attention into development was animations. And when I found there was a whole new world out there about animations, I wanted to learn all the front-end technologies as possible in order for me to build an animation. And I found so many inspirational developers out there. And one of them was Sarah Drasner. And for those who don't know who Sarah is, she is a software engineer at Microsoft, and she's really well known because of her works with SVG animations. And when I found her work, I was really, really amazed by it. I found her so inspirational, and I asked myself, how? How can I build that, and how can I recreate that? And so I did. I jumped in, and I built my first SVG animation ever, which is the one you can see on the screen. Nothing like Sarah's, but it was like a good start for me. And then I got excited, and I wanted to add animations everywhere in my projects. But now that I look back, I never stopped, and I never asked myself, why? Why am I building this animation? And what is really the purpose that I'm getting from this animation? And this is exactly what I want to focus on today. I want to focus on the whys and not the hows. Because I realized that there's not enough animations out there on the web. And I saw the pattern that they are usually the low-hanging fruit of projects. And there's a big community out there of developers who are against animations. And I noticed the bad reputation that animations can have. Because some people think it's just not worth the time, not worth the resources, and other people just use it improperly, like in this example right here. As the user is scrolling, I think that every single element on the website has an animation. It's heavily overused, right? This is one of the reasons why animations have such a bad reputation. And another reason is because some people use it for evil purposes, like wiggle banners and pop-up models. Because, you're trying to read this interesting article and all you get is this wiggle banner moving on the side, calling your attention. Or if it's the first time you're visiting a website, and then you get a pop-up model for asking for your personal information, like your zip code or your email, like no shame on their game, just buy me a gin and tonic first, something. Another reason why animations have such a bad reputation. And other people just think it's just a nice to have. And at the beginning of my career, I was part of this project that the entire team, including me, we thought that animations was just the cherry on top. It was just a decoration. Because we wanted to get functionality first, because it's more important, and we can worry about decorations later. Who cares about that? The result of that was that we never got the opportunity to build a single animation in the entire project. So okay, I saw the pattern, I saw the bad reputation, and the people that are against animation, but I still needed my answers to my whys. And I needed to find people that really believe in animation. And so I did. I found a small community, and I read these incredible books that I recommend you to read. Animation at Work by Rachel Labors, and Designing Interface Animation by Valhead. So I've read the books and I've distilled and gathered all this information. This is why I'm here today, because I want to share it with you. Because my goal is to show you the importance and the main role of animations. My intention is that you will walk away today with a new perspective about them. Excuse me? Drink some water. I really want you to take out the word animations out of being just simply a decoration. Because it can be more than that. And it can bring so many benefits to your users. And I'm going to explain each one of those benefits to you. but I want to start that it can help reducing cognitive load. So the best way to reduce cognitive load to our users is by connecting elements. Because elements that suddenly pop into your screen, like a pop-up model, what is happening is that our brain is creating a reset and is asking themselves, where did this came from? Because elements in real life just don't pop, or elements just don't have a hard cut when they disappear. Because in real life, when we see a car going from point A to point B, we need to see it translate and we need to see it moving. A car in real life doesn't go from point A disappearing and then appearing suddenly on point B. And this is something interesting that I found at the Animation at Work book, that our brain is trained for this type of hard cuts, like I just showed you, in movies. And I'm sure we've all seen movies in here, but this is just like a visual reminder of what I'm talking about, of those hard cuts in movies. And here we have a scene happening, and it's a conversation happening between two people. So in those in-between scenes, you get those hard cuts. And we are trained for those hard cuts in movies because we see this connection happening. It's kind of like a ping pong. But these hard cuts don't work well on web. And I'm going to show you an example of what I'm talking about on web. So here we have a drop-down with no transition. And I want you to pay attention to this drop-down right here. Once the user clicks on that drop-down, the list of options are going to suddenly appear into the screen. The user is going to select an option, and it's going to have a hard cut disappearing. So the user clicks on it, suddenly appears, drastically disappears. So what is happening is that the user is asking themselves, what did just happen? Because these two elements seem really disconnected between each other. So this is a distraction that we're giving to our users from the main content or the main task that we want them to do. So what is happening is that the brain is building these in-between states to find a connection between these two items. So probably all of us are thinking like, okay, I can see the connection. Sure, because we work with these elements on a daily basis. But you have to keep in mind about new users, incapacitated users, and casual users. So what we're doing to them with these hard cuts is that we are increasing the cognitive load. But unfortunately, animations can help with that. And this is the same example of the drop-down. And with a little bit of help of CSS and transition, again, I want you to pay attention to this drop-down right here. Once the user is going to click on it, the list of options are going to appear nicely coming from the drop-down. Once it selects an option, it's going to come back to the drop-down. User clicks, comes nicely from the drop-down, comes back again. So something as simple as this, we are creating a connection between elements. And thanks to this continuity, we are reducing the cognitive load to our users. And this is a simple example of a drop-down. This one is much more of an elaborated example. This is a code pen from Sarah Dressler. And I want you to pay attention to this location pin right here. Once the user clicks on the location pin, it's going to morph its shape into a box. So he clicks on it, morphs its shape into a box. The user clicks on the contact button. The contact button turns into a title for the input. The user inputs their email, clicks submit button. The button turns into a loader. The loader then later turns into a success icon. And once you're going to close the box, it's going to morph its shape back again into the location pin. So it's building like a timeline to the users, and it's creating connection. Imagine if the experience would be different. Instead of getting this continuity, instead would be like a click on it and get a pop-up model into a screen. Much more of a different experience. There has been studies that says that animations can help reducing cognitive load. And something interesting that I found was that the University of New Mexico made a study that students learning a specific skill using animations outperform other groups that didn't. And it also reported lower levels of cognitive load. So you may be thinking, perhaps, that with all these examples that I just showed you, that without the animation, they all will still work. Yes, absolutely. Functionality will be there. But what we're doing is that we are increasing their cognitive load to our users. Because we as humans, we're trying to fill those in-between states that I show you. We're trying to fill the gaps on how or why an element changed its shape, its color, or its location. Animation can also help by giving feedback. And feedback is really important because it keeps the conversation happening between the interface and the user. And a good example of this are loaders. So loaders are having a conversation to the user, pretty much saying like, I'm gonna go ahead and get your information, but in the meantime, just sit here and wait for me. So here we have a generic loader. We've seen it around, right? It's pretty common. I think a lot of places use it. At this point, I found it dreadful, boring, and I feel like if the wait is longer, I feel like something went wrong, and I just want to quit the application. So instead of using these generic loaders, I will recommend you to use customized loaders. So Hopper, this is an example from Hopper, and Hopper is an application that helps you to find the best deals for hotels and for flights. And what is happening right here, I was looking for the best deals for hotels in Japan. And I love how they use their loader to use their same like hop, bunny, jumping, and same using their logo in there. So it's making my stressful situation so much better. I'm stressed about getting the best deals. But if I got that on the screen, I'm like, oh, it feels more pleasant to the user. It feels like the company cares about its design. And this attention to details, it's letting the user know that they care about the user. I feel like I could just sit back and wait, relax with these customized loaders. This one is an example from Duolingo. And what is happening right here, I was changing the language from Spanish to German. And I love how, again, they're playing with their logo, like right here, about owls singing and dancing with a nice quote saying, brush up on your high Valyrian before Game of Thrones returns. Something so simple as this, but it's having a conversation to me, telling me like, okay, I know you want to go and learn some German, but don't forget about practicing high Valyrian before Game of Thrones returns. I'm a Game of Thrones fan, so I love that. Vidget is actually a company that they made an experiment on how long the users were more willing to wait. So they tested out with a customized loader and a generic loader. So the results came back, and it showed that the users were more willing to wait on a customized loader rather than a generic loader. And it also had a lower dropout time. So it's a little bit of investment, but eventually it's going to pay off to your users and your company. Because I don't know how you feel like. When I get these customized loaders, I don't mind the waiting, or I don't feel the waiting, like I get hypnotized by it. Placeholders are also like a new pattern that we've seen around with loaders, and it's kind of having a conversation. This is an example from LinkedIn. And it's kind of having a conversation to the user, letting them know, okay, I'm going to go and get your information, and I'm going to display it in these areas right here. This one is from material design, one of my favorites. They use the placeholders, and you see how like the elements start gradually displaying each other, so it's making the wait go much faster to the user. And Slack uses both. They use, if you haven't noticed, they use customized loaders. Once you open the application, you get the playful logo. Later, you get the placeholder right here on the left with a quote, kind of like what Duolingo was doing. And then later, I get my information. So we also have to keep in mind that we have to give the user negative feedback. And what I mean by that is when the user did something wrong on their part. So this is an example from material design. And as the user is trying to input their PIN, they did it wrong. So they get this heart shake animation. It's kind of like simulating a head saying no, right? So it's telling the user, you did something wrong, go ahead and fix it so I can help you. This is the same pattern of this heart shake, simulating the face of the head of an O. and highlighting where the user should go and fix that. So we have to remember that good feedback keeps the conversation happening between the user and the interface. It's making the waiting going less stressful, and it's letting the user know when they did something wrong on their part. Also, one of the main reasons people use animation is for attention. I think it's the number one reason why they do it. I mean, wiggle banners, remember those. So, you gotta keep in mind that with great power comes great responsibility. So the best way is that we have to pair animations with the important content that the user cares about. And this is an example from Pillow. Pillow is an application that tracks my sleep time and my quality and sleep quality. So the first thing I do when I open my eyes, grab my phone, open the application, it greets me with this animation on the most important part that I care about. With this graph right here, it's greeting me with this animation, letting me know my sleep time and my sleep quality. Again, pairing animation with the important content. This one is from CodePen. I'm sure we've all seen it. And I love this one so much because it's used for the benefit of the user. I'm a developer, and I'm working on my CodePen, and I haven't saved. And CodePen has this handshake save, like letting me know, hey, go ahead and save this because you don't want to do your changes. So it's used for my own good. And this one is from material design, and I love how they attract attention with motion. And in this example right here, you can see that the user is adding the succulent plants into the shopping cart, and with motion is guiding me directly to the shopping cart. So it's kind of like making it feel more human, like I actually grab the item and I put it into the cart. It's making me reassured that my item is there. So attracting attention can be very helpful, but we gotta be thoughtful to direct attention to the important content. Okay, animation can also help with demonstrating. And what I mean by demonstrating is that it can show us around how to navigate a website or an application, if it's your first time using the application, or how to use the product, or a new onboarding feature. So it's helping the user feel more familiar when they use the web or the application. This one is one of my favorites. This is an onboarding from Bird, and I'm not sure if you have seen those scooters around the city. Well, Bird is one of those companies that have those scooters around. And their onboarding on how to ride the scooter using animation is pretty amazing. So it's showing me that I should scan my phone into the scooter. Once it gets approved, it's letting me know that I should wear a helmet because safety first. Showing me how to start the scooter, how to use the throttle. It's even showing me how should I place my feet in the scooter. Where should I ride my scooter? What lanes? How to brake? And where should I not be parking the scooter? This example is from Venmo, and this was a new onboarding feature from them. They have a new Venmo card. So with help of animations and some text, it's showing me that I can use my Venmo card everywhere, that I can split bills with my friends, that if I lose the card, I can freeze the card, then unfreeze the card really easily, and I could pick the color for my card. So thanks to animation, we get the benefit of conveying a lot of information in a short amount of time. Imagine if instead of getting the animation of bird, instead would have been a bunch of words. I don't think any user will read that. And lastly, we get the opportunity to express our brand. And when we think about expressing our brand, we usually think about the typical font families, colors, iconography. Companies really never relate animations with expressing their brand. But we have to keep in mind that companies have done that in the past with TV commercials or TV bumpers. So you get the opportunity to reveal the mood of the brand, show personality, or even tell the story. And if you don't know where to start on how should I express my brand, just start with adjectives. And ask yourself, if it's your brand energetic, maybe your animation can be bouncy. If it's more calm, it could be blurring, pulsating animations. If it was like decisive and short, easing out will help. And if you already have animations on your project and you're not so sure if they are expressing your brand, just go through and audit. And I will recommend you to involve everyone, involve developers and designers, get everyone together and start going through each animation of the project. And at the end, ask yourself, does this express our brand? And if it does, that's awesome. If it doesn't, there's no need to worry, because the good benefit that we get with animations is that with a little bit of tweaking and changing on easing and timings can make such a huge impact. And as always, create guidelines, because what you're doing with this, you're creating consistency throughout your interface. And as developers, we benefit from that because we all know we love to copy and paste. This is an example from a company, and I love how they express their brand here. So as the user is typing their email, the Jedi follows the email with his head. Once he types the password, he covers his eyes. So you may be thinking, that's so fun, but my brand doesn't have a Jedi. What should I do? And my company is more much of our serious approach. What should I do? Well, again, timing and easings can make such a difference. And this is an example from Cash App. And Cash App is an application that helps me transfer money to my bank account. And that's exactly what I was trying to do here. I was trying to transfer some money, and the moment that I click the instant, I'm gonna get a loader, and immediately you're gonna see an animation of a lightning bolt going so fast. Watch. Loader, lightning bolt. Telling me that my bank account, my money has been deposited into my bank account. With this animation, it's letting me feel as a user that I could trust this application with my money, and for sure, I'm gonna get my money instantly into my bank account. This one is from Medium, and Medium has built a community around bloggers that we all support each other. And I love the fact that they didn't use likes, like Facebook or hearts on Instagram, and they opt to use clapping. So it's kind of like feels like more of a personal action, like a live action. Because I feel like if one of your coworkers did great on a presentation, what do? You feel like, oh my God, great job. So I love how they express their branding medium with this. And of course, your company website is the perfect opportunity to reveal animations with your brand. So here we have an example from a digital agency. And I love that with the animations that they're using here, it shows creativity, it adds personality, and it even shows the way that they showcase their projects. It's like a good catch for new clients that you could get. Okay, so now you know all the benefits that we get from animations. It reduces cognitive load. It keeps the conversation happening between the interface and the user. It draws attention. It can educate your users on how to use your website. And we get the opportunity to express our brand. And you may be thinking like, okay, this sounds so great, and I'm so excited. I want to build animations in my project, my company. I want to bring this into the table. How can I do that? And honestly, it's hard, not gonna lie. But it's all about communication. It starts with each one of you. It starts with start spreading the word, planting a seed into your coworkers can make such a difference. And I'm gonna give you an experience that I have where I currently work at. So we started building this component library. And little by little on these components, we have had animations added. And this has great and makes such a great impact into our interface. A big difference in a positive way, also, of course. And actually, this happened like a couple weeks ago. So I get this design from one of the designers of a component in order for me to build it. And as I'm working on it, I noticed that, oh wait, this has like a click event. This is a great opportunity to add an animation in here. So what I did, I reached out to the designer, like, do you think it would be a good idea? He loved it. He loved that I took that initiative, that he didn't thought while he was designing this. He was like, yeah, this is a great opportunity. He immediately sent me a prototype with timing and easings. And then we started like working together as a team. I involved everyone, all the front-end team, and we make it happen. We were happy, the designer was happy about that. So it's a little bit of a start that really like makes a great impact. And if you are a designer and you need an animation to show someone, just involve a developer to build you a prototype. And if you are a UX researcher and you need an animation to show to someone, just build like, ask a designer to build you on Adobe After Effects. Again, let everyone be involved and don't build barriers. And always, as you're building your animation, always keep in mind accessibility. Because as much as we love our animations, not everyone will experience it the same way. It can make people have seizures or make them feel dizzy. And by simply giving them the option to turn off the animations, you are making a huge impact for those who suffer from vestibular disorder. And this example right here, the user is toggling right here and on and off, and it's turning off the animations on the website. Always don't forget to add the correct attributes into your code. And to wrap it up, finally, you all should know now all the benefits and the true purpose of animation in user interfaces is really to help the user. And before you build an animation, I want you to ask yourself, does my animation have a purpose? How is my animation benefiting my user? Is my animation annoying? Because sometimes something that it looks really cool the first time could be annoying the 5th time the user is doing it. And am I making my users nauseous? Is it accessible? So hopefully you will leave here today with a new perception about animations. Because they can be more than just simply decorations. They're not only the cherry on top. It's part of the whole process. And by building meaningful and useful animations, we can all wash away the bad reputation. Thank you.